Thank you for joining me once again. In this video tutorial, we'll first show you how to create the T4 documents since it's a faster process. It's soon followed by how to create ROEs, or records of employment. To get started creating a T4, go to General, Employees, and then go to the Pay Info tab. Here you'll find the Create T4s button. This is a little counterintuitive because usually items inside the employee records are just for the single employee you have chosen. However, in this case, if we click on Create T4s, we'll be able to create T4s for all of our employees. The previous year will be selected by default, so we can click on Next Step. And here we see a list of all of our employees selected. You can deselect employees if you don't want to create a T4 for them, or click on Submit Employee List to go to the next step. Here's where you can enter in the information that you need, such as the owner's SIN number, and adjust the year-to-date remittances if needed, but typically this will already be populated. And consider the Custom Bonuses and Custom Deductions section, where for each bonus or deduction listed, you can assign a code to that bonus or deduction. And if you need help deciding which code to use, you can click on View Code Definitions page, which will bring up basically the back of an ROE to help you decide which code to assign each bonus or deduction to. Once you have that all set, you can click on Preview the T4 document, and this will generate a preview for you to look at, which is basically a company copy that has 2 employees per page. And if we scroll all the way to the bottom, it has the company summary page, which you can check against your accounting for the year. If everything looks good, then you can click on Continue and Finalize, where you can get the official employee T4s, which has a single employee listed twice on a page, and even number pages have the codes on the back so the employees knows which box relates to what information. And once again, at the bottom is a summary page. However, you can also click on the View Company Copy to get the 2 employees per page and the summary at the end. From here, click on Get CRA XML T4 Upload File and save it onto a computer in a location that you'll remember, such as your desktop. If you aren't given the option to save this file or choose where to save it, that means to download it automatically to your Downloads folder, which you can get to by clicking on your My Computer and your Downloads folder. And that's all there is to creating a T4. Simply open up the CRA's website, upload the T4 file, and you're done. Now we'll talk about how to do records of employment. To create a record of employment for the employee, be sure that they have been paid their final pay period and that you use the pay period end date of your usual pay period for the year. So for instance, if your employees are usually paid on Friday, be sure that you use that regular date when processing this employee's final payroll, because otherwise the ROE will calculate the pay periods different than they should be. This is the same processing, by the way, that the ROE web program uses to calculate pay periods. So this program is basically designed the exact same way. So if it looks good here, it'll look good on there. To get started with an ROE, go to General and Employees and select the employee that you wish to create the ROE for. From the Personal tab, scroll down to the Employee Qualifications area and simply enter in the employee termination date. In this case, it's January 5th, and select the code. In this case, we'll just say they quit. When you click on Save Changes, this will automatically launch you into the ROE module. The top part of this module has some very useful information, so be sure to read it before proceeding. And following this, you can see a shell of the ROE that you're creating. Payroll Connected automatically grabs information that it knows and fills in these fields. If you see something that needs to be changed, such as the employee address, then you'd want to cancel this ROE, change that information in the employee record, and then retry doing the ROE. Further down, we can see the fields where you can enter in their occupation, which is optional, and whether they are returning or not, and an expected date of recall. Some of the most important fields on an ROE are the 15 fields. 15A tells you the total insurable hours. This information is basically the shifts in the previous pay periods that are shown below in 15C, all added up. In this case, this employee worked 1,862 hours in the previous 27 pay periods. Down in 15B is total insurable earnings. This amount will not equal the sum of all these pay periods. For CRA only wants basically half the pay periods reported below in 15C for the total insurable earnings. And then once again down in 15C, this will be the previous pay periods for however many pay periods this employee is set to be paid in a year, plus 1. So in this case, the employee is paid bi-weekly, 26 pay periods, so they want 27. When you're reviewing the information in 15C, a good cue to look for is any pay period that has a 0 in it, as we have here in pay period 6. If this employee has worked basically every pay period, then we know that this isn't correct. So there's a tool that we can use to determine what's going on here. If you scroll up to the top, there's a link here called Click Here to Review the ROE Values Report, which will open in a new tab in your internet browser, so you don't have to worry about losing the work that you've done so far. By clicking on this tab and then scrolling down, we can see a detailed listing of all the pay periods being calculated to create the 15C section of the report. You'll see by this legend here that this symbol indicates that a pay period is being combined with the pay period above it. In this case, we have a pay period on the 5th and the 3rd, most likely because a shift was missed or the pay period wasn't correct. So in this case, these two pay periods should be combined since they're only 2 days apart. Further down, we see that pay period 3 here is being combined with pay period 3 here. So the 25th and the 14th. In this case, a pay period was not finalized on the correct date. It was finalized a little bit sooner, as we can see that there's only 10 days separating the 25th and the 15th. And if we look further down, this symbol means that there is a pay period with 0 just next to it, which would be pay period 6 right here. So how do we fix this? Well, here we see that pay periods 25 and December 4th are being combined, even though they're full pay periods. So basically we have to move this one down to here, this one down to here, and this one down into pay period 6. Then we'll have continuity throughout the entire 15C section. So with that in mind, we can go up to the top and click on Move to Print View and print ourselves a copy of this report, which we can then use to help us fix this ROE that we're working on. So I'll move this in so we can see both screens at the same time. And now if we go back to our ROE, since it opened up in a different tab, it's just a matter of moving the pay periods down until we create the space where we need it. So we'll put pay period 5 into pay period 6, pay period 4 into pay period 5. And for pay period 4, we're going to enter in this 702 amount and change pay period 3 to the 795.60 amount right here. So now, if we do an evaluation of this ROE, the system will automatically recalculate these and put the values into 15B for us. So we'll click on Evaluate ROE, and it locked it in fine. If it came out with any errors, it would report them to us up here, along with advice on how to resolve them. So it would just be a matter of going back, which you can do by clicking on Edit ROE, and making the changes that we need. The next field is number 16, which is the reason for issuing the ROE, and also the primary contact information if they have questions about this ROE. Following this is cell 17, which gives us optional information about filling out vacation pay. And if you need help with this, please consult the guide. And the same thing with paying out extra statutory holiday pay that they have coming to them. And lastly, other monies as well. Once again, you can use the guide to help you out with these fields. These fields aren't used very often, so I'm not going to spend much time explaining them, but there's the guides here, and if you have any questions, do give us a call and we can help you out. Following this, you can enter in any comments if you need to. This will be a mandatory field if you select Other for the type of reason for dismissal. And lastly, if there's any special PSL or sick or maternity, parental compassionate care, that's what these fields are for. And once again, you can use the guide to help you out. And then if we click on Evaluate ROE again, it comes up and everything's good. And now we can click on Add to Batch File. Before you continue, you can click on View or Print ROE Draft, which basically gives you a paper copy of the ROE as it will look before you actually make it official and lock it in. If everything looks good, you can click on Add to Batch File, and this will take you back to the employee record. And as you can see, it reports employees successfully added to batch file. Now, a batch file is basically like a volume of ROEs. So if you had another ROE to create, 2 or 3 maybe, you can go ahead and do those ROEs for the other employees and just keep adding them in the same way to the batch file. Once you have added all the ROEs you want to the batch file, then you can scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on Prepare and Get ROE Bulk File. This way, you just need to upload one file to upload all the ROEs that you've created. So click on Prepare and Get ROE Bulk File. That will refresh the screen and give you the option to download the ROE bulk file. Now is your chance to get this file. Once you log out of Payroll Connected, this button will no longer be available, and the only way to get this ROE is to contact Payroll Connected support. So here's your chance to click on Download ROE Bulk File, and it will ask where you want to save it on your computer. If it doesn't ask you this, then it'll put it automatically to your Downloads folder. So save it to a spot where you'll remember it, such as the desktop. Click on Save File, and now all you need to do is go to your favorite search engine, Google, type in ROE Web, and it'll be one of the first search results on ROE Web. So now you can just go to the ROE Web, log in using your own credentials, and upload your ROE bulk file. If ROE Web reports any errors with your bulk file, please contact ROE Web's technical support, and they'll be able to help you out fix any errors inside ROE Web. And that is also where you print out the official ROEs. You'll notice that Payroll Connected only generates ROE drafts. That's because they are not considered to be the official ROE documents until ROE Web creates them. So once you've uploaded the file, ROE Web approves it, then print out the official ROE for your employee. And that's all there is to creating ROEs with Payroll Connected. If you have any questions, please give us a contact and we'll be happy to help you out. Other than that, thank you for using Payroll Connected.